us. Long time no see. Good to see y'all today. Oops, my camera's crooked. Hope everybody's doing well. Good to see you, Yvonne. Good to see you, Sandra. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It is warming up here in Tennessee, and I'm so excited. It's thrilling. After those 3 cold weeks, it's beautiful here. So no questions have come in, unfortunately, which means we're going to be able to just kind of fly off the cuff. So unless somebody has if somebody pops in real quick with a question, we'll go with that. Otherwise, I will kind of fly off the handle and do my own thing, and we'll see where we go from there. But I did, so I'm going to give you all a second to think about it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to look and see what I took a screen capture of something to give you all an idea, but I meant to take a screen capture of where it came from. So I gave the person whose idea it was credit. And evidently I didn't do that. All right. So, hey, how are you doing, Caroline? And Joyce is here and Francie's here. So glad y'all are in the house. Glad you could make it. Where did I put that picture? I took the screenshot, but I didn't manage to grab the person's. Bummer. I didn't manage to grab the information that I wanted to grab so that I could make sure that I gave credit where credit is due. Okay. It's been a long time since I've been to So Expo. And it's not on my schedule this year. One never knows what comes around next year, but this year it's not on my radar at this time. So depends on where brother decides to send me, or if a brother dealer contacts me themselves. So it really just depends on what's happening there. I am headed to All Brands this weekend. I bet you're liking the warmth too, DJ. It's much nicer now. So there is this thing going around on Facebook, the lace appliques. And that's what I wanted to make sure I gave the person credit. Because it's not my original idea. There's a person that came up with the idea first, and it's all her idea. Y'all can make your own if you want to. Personally, I would buy her stuff just simply because she's figured out all the kinks and you don't have to worry about it. But if you want to do it yourself, I'll kind of give you how do you create real small flowers or little butterflies without it looking horrible. Well, that would be a manual punch. I'll answer that one first before I get into this other. So, oops, I guess I need to share my screen. So hold on just a second. Let's hit share screen. Let's see here. So if I were to create a little bitty flower, what I would do is first I would bring in a background image. But since I don't have a background image, let me bring in something that we'll just take a picture of and make a background image. Let's go to outline shapes. And I'm pretty sure we have a flower in here somewhere. So let's say we wanted this and we wanted it teeny tiny. And we're going to actually just turn this to a solid image so that we can see it. And I'm going to take a little screenshot of it. I will zoom in on it. And then we'll just take a little screenshot of it. Let me take where's my snipping tool? Right there. Let's hit new and let's just take a picture. All right. So now we'll hit new. So bringing in an image is your easiest way to do this. I'm going to go with a 4x4 hoop just so we're not dealing with so much size in the background. And I will right mouse click and say input from clipboard since I just snipped that down. Now we're going to make it smaller. I made it bigger just so we could see it to take a picture of it, but we're going to make it smaller. And that's about an inch there. So yeah, okay. So I would consider that pretty teeny tiny. What I would do personally is I would grab my block punch tool. Why would I do that? Because I can control the stitch density better. It's going to go in different directions. It's going to be a satin stitch, and that is generally your best plan for when you're trying to create something like that. So there's one block. Now, I would normally take myself a running stitch up to the top of another one, switch over back to my curve tool, and just, I'm basically going from side to side. You go left to right and double click. Now, if you don't want to double click, you can always switch to the run punch tool without double clicking. It's going to do the same thing regardless whether you double click or not. It's going to make a travel stitch. So if you don't want to double click, I will show you how you basically transition. So I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to come up here and grab the running tool. And once again, take it up to the top or the bottom, as this case may be. Basically, I'm reducing the amount of running stitches that I have, the amount of travel that my machine has to make by ending everything in the middle. And I'm going to come back to this side, go back to that run tool, take it back up, go back to the curve tool, go across. I don't like where that one clicked. So right mouse click takes away your last click if you didn't like what you did with it. And then I'm going to double click to finish it. So let's look and see what we have. That's our little flower. Okay. Now, if I wanted to put a center in here, I would go to my select point tool. And instead of having them all meet down there in the middle, I would kind of leave myself a bit of a space. And then you can come in and draw a circle in that little space. So I'm going to move that one a little bit. Move this one and move this one. Now I've got myself a little open area for that, and I will come in and grab a circle tool and change that to a satin stitch with no outline, and just draw myself a little circle there. If you hold your shift key down, you have a perfect circle. If you don't, you can get an oval. And I'll sit here and tell you, a perfect circle on screen is not going to end up being a perfect circle when stitched because of pull compensation. Okay. Oh, Yvonne, I put on something else. I turned on a setting. I'll turn that off. I didn't think it would happen while we were live. I will turn it off, but I can't do it while I'm live right now, I don't think. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can turn that setting off. Hold on. Give me a second. Didn't mean for that to happen while we were actually live. It's supposed to be on playbacks. Let's see if I can take care of it. I'm working on it. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can change that. Hold on, creator. I don't even remember where to do it. Bum. Yvonne, can you live with it today? I could have, but I couldn't necessarily make sure that it would travel correctly. but I mean, yeah, you could certainly copy and paste. I could have actually, if we want to grab this one, if you, Yvonne, just if you can just live with it today, I will fix it for the next time around. Since I do this for free, I was trying to get a little monetization out of it by adding ads on playbacks. I apologize for that. It was something I was trying, but obviously that didn't work too well for us. I could do circle copy as well and say I want, let's say I want 5 petals number. Let's say we want 5 petals. And I made my circle too big, so let's try that again. There we go. So I could do something like that. Now let's see how it travels, though. That would be the question. Let me hide this part. And let's watch this other stitch. See if it did what I needed it to do. Yeah, not too bad. So if they're all the same, you could do that. Now I would probably, once again, separate them so that I would, basically go back in and edit that to where I left a little gap in the center, so I could just simply come and move these out just a little bit. To where I have a center opening. And I might stretch one or two of them just to give them a little bit of depth. And then you can come back in and add your circle in. Okay. So you asked about a butterfly. That's basically what I would do. I mean, for a small flower, that's going to give you the best look. If you do a fill stitch, it's going to be too dense, and that should work very well for you. If you were doing a butterfly, let's see here. What do we got over here in our import window? Do I have any butterflies? Does not look like it. Let's go to Design Library and let's go to, I believe it's under Animals. So here's a butterfly. You can see that they've manually punched it. So this one, I would do one side and then the other. We're gonna actually act like that's just an image. So ignore the fact that it's a digitized design. And they've done it in 3 steps. Well, if you don't want to deal with 3 steps, you can simply come in here and do the same way that we did before. You can have one segment. It's up to you. We could have 2 segments instead of 3. So there's one segment, and then come back in and do another segment. I'll change my color here in a minute just to give you an idea. Now, I don't like that one. I would simply come in and I would probably feather it, but I'd also adjust my shape a little bit. And let's change its color. So let's make that an orange and we'll make this a green. So now if I want to make this more natural looking, I can go into the sewing attributes and I can do a feathered edge. So depending on which edge you're looking at, which is your top and which is your bottom. So let's look and see. So the top, this is my bottom. So wherever I click second is my bottom. Wherever you click first is your top. That's a little bit too feathered for me, and I'm not crazy about that choice of edges. So let's look and see what else we've got here. Let's see if we like that one better. For a feathered edge, I normally turn off undersewing, and let's not make it quite so feathered. And let's pick a different one. And and you can come in and adjust the shape as you're doing it. So we could feather this edge. Where I clicked second, once again, if I'm feathering it, I take off my undersewing. Now I can also come in here and adjust the shape after I feathered those edges. So let's see here. Let's reduce the amount of feathering. But it gives it a little bit something extra that you don't get otherwise. And you can always, once again, come in here and adjust the shape to give the shape that you want. So, I mean, that it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you just want to do a basic butterfly and you don't want to deal with any of that, then simply come in. This one you may want, depending on how long your stitch is going to be, you may prefer to have it be a fill stitch. It's small, but it's going to have its own little, I'm going to make a Z so I can turn a corner there. Then I'll come back with my curve tool here with an X. Let's turn off the feathered edge this time. And let's make it a fill stitch. So if you don't want it to be as dense of a fill stitch, you can always adjust your shape and you can always adjust the angles. This is your angle adjustment. These arrows will let you adjust it to where you like the look. And just by doing that, you get a very different look of your fill. You can't cross your angle lines, just so you know. But you can also adjust your step pitch and frequency. The step pitch is your length of your stitch. So if you're wanting to reduce density, you can increase the length of that stitch. That gives it a more, you don't want to go above 7, but that reduces the density. So if you look here, right now I have 78 stitches. If we go back to the default, oh, I still have 78 stitches. Isn't that interesting? Wait a minute. Can't be. But no, 95. I was like, that can't be right. So if I go back up to 6, we'll go with 6.4. We're down to 75 stitches. Now, you can mirror this. Arrange, copy, vertical mirror, and just take it over to the opposite side. Bam, you're done. If you want to do the bottom the same way, same method. You're going to do your block punch tool. Now you're going to notice my direction is going side to side. If that's not what you want, let's first of all change this to a fill stitch and then get your select point tool out. We can delete all direction lines. Delete lines not selected. We'll grab that. Then we can turn this one this way. Actually, I got to do it from the bottom to get it started. Then you can add in direction lines. Oh, got to move that. And then you can mirror copy that one as well. And just drop it in the center. Then you can come in and grab your block punch tool one more time. Actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this one. And you don't need a lot of clicks for this because it's a small shape. All right, so now we've got that. Let's go and change the color of the center, whatever you want it to be, and then we'll change our leaf, our wing colors. and you would run punch those. So simply open line drawing tool. But I have it not sewn, so we'll have to come back in and fix that in just a second. You'll notice I have on the left-hand side here, these two little lines. We'll hold our control key and grab those, and we'll change those to a triple stitch. Okay. Now, I could have added a couple of extra clicks to make those stitches there, or I can come in with my circle tool again, no outline, and just draw a circle there. It's too small. So that would be one. All right. Since I didn't draw it, we'll just add to it. So there we'll add a couple of clicks in here. We're going to make them straights. And I'll delete that one. So I don't want to deal with that again. So we're just going to mirror copy it. And drop it where we want it to go. And then we can get rid of our original butterfly that we were playing with. And we would change the order of sewing to where this sews first, these sew first. And I would probably have these sew second, and then my green sew last. There you go. So that gets you everything in one little bundle, and then group it up. But that's a teeny tiny butterfly. It is less than a ½ inch, and it is completely resizable at that point. Now, having said that, it's going to leave more space up there in that top area because of the way that we punched that. So you might need to go fix that, but that gives you a starting point. Okay. Does that answer the question? All right, let me hit new. We're not going to save those changes. Okay. So what I was going to say was, all right, I went into the Programmable Stitch Creator. I'm sure you all have seen this on Facebook, the little lace design. So what I did was I went in and I opened up a motif stitch. So if we go into our motif stitches, let's find one that would lend itself to making a half circle without us having to draw too much. So I'm just arrowing through to see which one will work for me. I'll tell you what, I picked that one. That's not the one I needed to pick. Yeah, that's not one that was optimal for this. What I will tell you is this one. Is that the one I'm thinking? Hold on. This one right here is probably the easiest one to adapt. Okay, so let's open that up. And you can see we've got a full circle there. I don't want the full circle, so I'm going to delete the bottom half of it. And I'm going to take this and we're going to move it over to the center. And it looks like it's not quite a centered circle, so I'm going to take this and move it over. Yep, that looks good. And then we'll take this little guy right here and add one to him. Okay. Then down here at the bottom, you're just going to simply come in. And we're going to start from the center and go to a spike. Now, if we look and see what we've got, let's go to view and our preview window. Actually, it's already open. It's over here on this side of my computer. It's close to what I want, but I don't like this side right here. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to simply pull this in a little bit until that makes a half a circle. And then we will take this little dot right there and move it right on top, and we'll move this one right here. So now I have a little half circle lacy looking thing. And that's basically what they've done. And I've got mine on snap to grid, so I'm making it to where everything has snapped to a grid. And it's proportional. All right. So now we're just going to do File, Save As, and we'll save this as half lace. We'll do half lace too. Because I did it a little differently when I was playing with it. I still think I want this moved in a little bit. And this one. So now I'll just hit save again. Okay. Now, if you are working in PE Design, that's what the Programmable Stitch Creator did for us, I'm just going to put in, let's put a T. I want to give you an easy letter first, because an easy letter is an easy letter. The others are going to be more challenging, okay? We are going to go home and we're going to say Applique Wizard, and we are going to have it replace. And just say okay. Now, you can grab this first piece of it that should be the outside edge, and if you look, we can zoom in. It's that first outline there. It's close to what I want, but not quite. So I'm going to touch home. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. And then I'm going to go to the Shapes tab, and I'm going to say Create Offset Line. What I want it to do is I want it to go outward. Oh, I need metric. Hold on. I know this in metric. So we're not going to space it real far apart because it's probably less than 1 millimeter. We're going to try it at 0.5 and preview. So you see how that's right along that outside edge? Let's go to 0.6. That's where I want it to be. Now, I'm going to take that and we're going to change its color so you can see something else. We'll make it black. Then you're going to change that to a motif stitch. And that's an awful big motif stitch. That's not what I want. So we're going to go back here to our stitches in the sewing attributes. And that's going to bring up my stitch menu. Now, mine was already over here. So if I come in and I grab that, that's going to tell me pattern. And then I have live stitches underneath there. That's where I'm at. Pattern is the default library. So if you save yours there, it should automatically open to it. Now, you'll notice that it cuts corners. And that's why I said, if you don't want to deal with this hassle, then I suggest you just buy the one from somebody else. If you go on Facebook, this is all over Facebook right now. Because this is not, this is one of those that you have to think about. So I'm going to take it down to 5 millimeters. Because it doesn't, it cuts corners. It's not going to chop your design off in half. I guess I could have typed in 5, but I took the long way around. That's closer to what I want, but still not quite there. So let's see if we increase the spacing between them, what happens. That's close. But I'm going to tell you the easiest way to do this, and it's not what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I can space them apart, but that's still not going to solve our issue of going around the corners. All right, so what you would do to make this work is you would right mouse click here and say split at point. Notice how now that is a straight line to that corner. Split at point, and you're going to do that at every corner. So that it sees it as a single line instead of multiple lines. It does, instead of a continuous line, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because then it will complete that pattern for you at that edge. and it should run where you want it to go. Now, once you've got that all done, you take these and you have them sew first. Go to the sewing order, say sew first, and there you've got it. So that would go underneath your applique, and this is what it would look like. Okay. Now, as I said, this is not my original idea. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that it is. Now, there's one other thing I do. I don't like those corners. So let's see if we can change that. We can. The only way we can change that, though, is to change that line length. So if I come and I hold my shift key down, it will go in a straight line, and I'm going to start it right there instead of bunched up next to that other one. And we'll do the same thing right here. I'm going to hold my shift key down, but basically I'm trying to get those things, what am I trying to say? Those half loops to where they were not crossing over the top of each other. And that's how you would do it. That's the best and easiest way I can give you to make that work. You might not want it as far to the edge as we put it. And if that's the case, then let's come in here and grab this and move it up here too. Let me get rid of this whole kit and caboodle. There's my original copied piece. So I could just simply run with it, choose black as my color. You can see it's slightly buried underneath there. Change it to my motif stitch. Once again, I need to pick the motif stitch. So we'll go with our half lace 2. And I'm going to change it back down to 5 millimeters. You can leave it at 10 if you want, but I think 5 is a prettier look. And once again, let's zoom in here and do the same thing. So at the corners, split at points. Yeah, I can run it and let you see. The biggest thing is going to be making sure that, let me move this and shift it down a little bit. Let me get them. Oops, hit the wrong one. Undo that little mess. I need to click that line. Okay, so now let's move all of these to the beginning. So let me make sure I get all my pieces. We'll have them sew first. And we may need to reorder them. It depends on how it decides to stitch, but let's watch that stitch. So if I run it across, and that's how it would go. So you can tell it's tucked under there a little bit more. This is what it would look in realistic preview. But it's going to run in the correct order that you want it to run. There shouldn't be gaps. It may tie. The only tie off that I can see that it might do in between would be right here. But that's because I see that there's a little bit more of a gap there. However, if I want to avoid that, if I want to avoid that, I could always come in and drop in just a straight stitch from here to here. Now I got to figure out where it goes. But let's see here. If I find that, which one is that? That would be this one right here, I think. Let's see. There. So it's right here. There. So now if we watch that sew, then you see my little line there that keeps it from, that would keep it from trimming there. I would probably want to do that here as well, just so that I don't have that jump, but that's the way you would get it from doing. So DJ, there's been a huge thing on Facebook. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see here. It's a trend. It is definitely a trend. Let me search for lace embroidery font. This is not the original person. And I really would like to show the original person, but this will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So this right here, and if we zoom in on it, you can see how they've got the lacy edge around the back and satin stitches. It's a very, I mean, it's been trending for the past couple of weeks. So that's really, if you search lace embroidery fonts with lace designs, there's another, I mean, they're all over the place. But I'm trying to see who was the original, and because it was really her that I think, I do not see the original person. Actually, it was Blue Gem Embroidery. So, I mean, the beauty for us is that we can cut it with our scan and cut instead of having to trim, but they've trimmed things there. But it is a thing right now, and it's very doable with your software. And I mean, it does turn out super cute. But she is the first person to do it. That at least to my knowledge. Okay. So I will tell you, use your scan and cut to cut it out, and you'll have a better result as far as that center part goes. And so I didn't show you the center. She didn't do centers of hers. So you could do a center. If and if that's what you want to do, let me hit stop here. So I told you I'd start with a basic letter and then we would go from there. So let's come in and grab an A. And I'm going to make it big. And we will go home and we will do the applique wizard again, and make sure that you choose create an applique for whole sewing with this one. And we're going to replace. Now, once again, we're going to grab those first two pieces. Those are your cutting stitches, and we'll go to the home tab and we will copy and paste, or Control C, Control V. I'm going to change the color of that to black so you can see it. You see my lines there. Now change it to that motif stitch, and there it is. This one is going to be the same thing. We're going to go home. We're going to zoom in. I'll do the center part of it first. You select it, select point, come here, split at point. Come here, split at point. And then come here and split at point. Now for me, I would want this to come down right here. I don't think I would want the peaks to meet. But did I change the size of that enough? Hold on. Let's look and see what size we have our motif. Oh, it's still 5. That's good. And then you would just make this tiny. Basically, you're going to get one motif right there. And do the same thing on your corners that we did before. So you just do it in every corner, split it at point so that it makes it a line. That way you don't have it trying to make corners and cut off the motif. Okay, evidently I've already split that one. Already split that one. So now this is where you would come in, hold your shift key down and pull them in. Those are fine. That's fine. That's fine. Everything else is fine. So then what are we going to do? We're going to take it and we're going to move it all to the beginning. So first. And that's how you would do an A if you wanted the lace in the center of it as well. Okay. So it really depends on what you're looking for and how you want to do it. It's not one of those that there's a you must do it this way, you must do it that way. I just gave you the easiest way that you can accomplish it in PE design. Now I haven't played with it in BES, so if you want me to see, we could try BES. It's a possibility, not necessarily a known quantity. So let's try it there. We'll see what we've got going on. Let me grab an A. Oops, I forgot what program I'm in. I have to click away from it. And we are going to go style. I'm going to go artwork for this, and we're just going to make it big. I said artwork. I forgot to hit apply. Okay, so I have artwork here. Now I have no idea how big I've made this. So I've made it 5 inches. I can come in here and I can copy it and I can paste it, and I'm going to make the pasted copy a different color. So we have 2 colors to work with. And we will take the top copy. We will go to our tools tab. And break up text. And then convert it to applique. Okay. So now if we look at that, we have an applique. All right. Now our first copy, let's see here. If I change this to run only, instead of trying to convert it, let's do a motif. I cannot create motifs here, so I have to pick one that's within the software. So let's find something that we think that would provide a lacy look to it. We have a ton of these motifs in here, so there's over 200. Surely we can find something that we like that will work. Y'all holler at me if you see a number that you think this one might. Let's see what that looks like. It's tiny, so let's do, I did hit apply, right? Let's hide this one so I can see what we've got going on. Why are you not? Hide other. Okay, so that's it's tiny, so that's not what we want. So let's pick a different one. And I may need to hit an offset to this. That is very possible. Okay, so now let's make this motif bigger. Let's make it 6. And now let's show all. Okay, so it's still too small. So what we're going to do now is, instead of what we did, we are going to go change this back to artwork. Oh, first of all, let's look and see what What motif did I pick? Hold on. What motif did I pick? Motif 181. Remember that, okay? Because I'm going to need that in a minute. So we're going to take this back to an artwork file, and we're going to break up text. And then I'm going to grab that artwork file, and we're going to go to the Arrange tab, and we're going to choose Break Apart first. And then we're going to do Offset. Actually, Offset, and we're going to choose Create Offset. And we're going to go outside and inside, okay? And we want the spacing, hold on, let me go to metric. We want the spacing to be, let's go 1 millimeter. And let's remove, okay? Because I don't need a second set of lines. I just need it to be right there on the edge. It did not give me the interior portion of that. So hold on. Offset, outside and inside. We're going to leave as is just so in case we can grab it inside. Make it outside of the holes. Okay. Let's see what happens there. Still didn't give me my hole. Okay, what's happened here? Offset, outside, take off holes. Went the wrong direction. Okay. So we want it to go inside. There we go. So see how, do you see that little line right there? Let me make it green so you can see it. See that little line right there? That's what I'm looking for. Now let's grab this guy right here, and we want it to go outside. Offset, create offset line, and we want it to go outside. And we're going to go 1 millimeter, and we're going to change that color to that color as well. So now we've got those two, okay? They're artwork right now. We've grabbed the whole thing. Let's go Tools and convert that to a run, okay? And now we can change that. Oop, nope, Style. Okay, can't do that. So let me see here. Let's undo that. Let's grab this, and let's convert it to an applique. And instead of, we will choose a motif, and motif 181, right? This is the roundabout way to get here, but we'll get here. 181, apply. Now I had that motif size 6. Let's make it bigger than that. Let's make it 10. Okay, that's a little bit too big. We're close. 8. Now, you will take that applique, and you will right mouse click, and you will say, this applique, sorry, right mouse click, and you will say preserve as stitches, and then you will delete everything besides the covering stitch, and then move that to sew to the beginning. And the artwork can be gotten rid of. So this is what you would have in BES. As I said, we don't have as much control, but we do have some. So now I can, let's see here. Maybe I should have done my offset a little bit more. That tells me that because it's hiding. So let's try that one more time. So we're going to grab this. We're going to go Tools. Let's see if we, nope. All right, so let's see if we offset again. Let's go outside, and let's go 2 millimeters. So now it's along that outside edge, looks like. All right, let's grab that again. Let's grab the inside, offset, And we're going with 2 millimeters, and we want it to go to the inside. Nope, the outside still. No. Okay, I need you to go inward. Come on. Play nice in the sandbox here. Create offside. Let's go perimeter. We're going to go inside. And we are going 2 millimeters, 1 ripple. There we go. So now you see it's in the inside. So I'm going to grab both of those, and we're going to make them blue so you can see them. Now, we're going to grab the whole kit and caboodle, go to our Tools tab, convert it to Applique, change that to a motif, pick a motif. 181 was what we picked. But if you find one you like better, go with it. And I had it at about 8, right? Okay. Now, you would right mouse click, preserve as stitches, get rid of the placement stitches, and then just send it to sew first. Now, that's more like what we were looking for. So basically, I needed, for that one, I had to make more of an offset. Now, I'm not crazy about this right here. I probably should have edited it before I preserved it as stitches, and I could have. So if we undo a couple of times, if I come and grab my applique, I can now edit my shape. And if I don't like the way that's working, I can always come in and adjust that, right mouse click. So now I've got that little motif sticking out instead of being tucked under. Then once you've got it the way you want it, let's move them in front so that you can see if you like it or not. Oops, one more. And if you like it, which that's fine. I mean, maybe I went too far out. Let's tuck it a little bit in. Right mouse click. Pull that one out a little bit. Right mouse click. Right mouse click saves your change that you just made. So I'm just trying to get that little motif that's hiding underneath there to stick out. Maybe I delete a point. That's the route. So now they're all visible. We want to grab both of them, right mouse click, preserve as stitches, and then just get rid of all of the placement and tack downs. And there you go. Okay, so I mean, there's various ways you can go about doing it. You guys you're the designer, you get to choose. I mean, there are other motif stitches in there that you can play with, but what you have there is what you have there. You cannot bring any others in. You can't save it for that in that format. So just keep that in mind. And if you want to see this one stitch, DJ, this is how it's going to stitch. The artwork doesn't stitch, just so you know. That's just artwork hanging out there. I could get rid of that. So if I click on my select tool and I grab my artwork is now gone. So now if we watch it stitch, there's no artwork sitting there. And it would be done. All right, guys. Any other questions? Or any questions? So, I mean, I was just trying to hit you with a trendy topic that you wanted. I will be back on next week, so please shoot me questions if there's something that you want to know about. I will be happy to answer. Trying to think if there's anything else. And And Yvonne, I will work on getting the ads taken out of while I'm live and let them go. I thought it was only going to do it on replay, so I'll take that out. Just seriously, since I don't charge for any of this, I was just trying to add a little monetization to the world. So since it's a freebie for you, I figured I would try and see if I couldn't monetize it on the back end. I did not mean for it to happen while we were live, so I do apologize for that. I just thought it would be upon replay. So we will take that out. You shouldn't see it again. I will see if I can't figure that out. I just flipped that little switch on this morning and didn't think twice about it. So sorry about that experience for you. So hopefully they minimized it, because it was supposed to be very minimal ads. It was a balanced. So well, good, Joyce. I don't know what happened. I don't know why one of you got fed them and another one didn't. I guess that's just the way YouTube is set up. If you have a YouTube premium account, you may not see it. I honestly don't know. It was an experiment. I will just consider that one failed. Okay. So sorry about that. You all, I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day, and I will see you all next week. So be sure to send me in some questions, please. That way I'll know where your heads are headed, where your heads are looking towards, what we're thinking, what you'd like to know about. I'll be happy to answer questions. But it always does help to have a direction to get started, instead of just looking at the screen and saying, hey, y'all, I'm here today. But hey, I'm saying, hey, y'all, I'm here today. So, all right. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.